Maine, yes. Good morning. Thank you, AFTA. Bob. Thank you, distinguished guests and congressional members. Madam Chu, Mr. Adams. Thank you for inviting me on Capitol Hill for Arts Advocacy Day. I focus on the underserved today. I focus on Black and brown citizens who thirst for arts education in economically disadvantaged environments. I am an American Ballet Theater alumna, a Screen Actors Guild AFTRA union member of 32 years. My New York Times memoir rests on a shelf in the Library of Congress, gratefully interpreted into Braille. I am a National Endowment for the Arts recipient as a child. I am a Ford Foundation Arts recipient as a child. And none of this might have been possible had it not been for the shared vision of my social worker, Linda Webb, who is still very much in my life, who knew that the provision of a pair of ballet slippers meant my future and that my life depended on it. I have witnessed arts teachers heroically split the sky for underserved children, that people like me could soar through it, or at least try to, on a shoestring budget or no budget at all. The arts are for so many, represent more than a plie, a piano, a paintbrush, a photograph. It is the only way out for so many of us, and the only way out. It is our college. When people say, Vicki, your experience is so rare, you're so lucky, I say, no. It is not rare. The single greatest difference between me standing here and not sitting in a prison cell is that someone gave me an opportunity. Somebody took a stand and gave me more than a summer camp experience that kept me in syllabus and curriculum for 8 years strong in Cambridge, Massachusetts, until somebody thought it was a good idea to burn down our ballet school in liberal Cambridge, Massachusetts, because 100 Black children were joined there. It's tragic when children bursting with raw talent are refused. For many in underserved communities, the world is at war again. Racial unrest, sex slavery, trafficking of children, 500,000 foster children in care, 100,000 available for adoption right now. Prisoners crave art. Too many people, Black and brown, are in prison. Prisons stretched to twice the capacity. And soap opera is allowed as an art form, a form of entertainment in prisons. Most of my fan mail came from prisoners, and I bloody well tried to answer it, because who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? And so 75% of the prison population, when people say, well, why do you answer that fan mail, Vicki, from prison? Ooh. I'd say, well, because 75% of the prison population was once in foster care. That's why I answer it. The art form that I am most associated with is soap opera, The Young and the Restless, with an approximate 40% African-American audience. 40% African-American audience. Consumer viewing audience, older females. Over 4 decades, we have been on the air, and not a single African-American has been hired as an executive producer, as a casting director, as a costume designer, as a co-executive producer or supervising producer. Not a single has the ownership of Sony and Bell Dramatic Serial considered. 40 years. And that also goes for the #2 soap opera in the nation. These are billion-dollar industries. Bold and the Beautiful, that rides that 40% audience. I'm a part of that, and I try to change it. I step up to the plate and I get hammered, but I'm stepping up to the plate. Largely Black artists are confined to the window dressing of performance with no ownership opportunity. Soap opera has been on the air since 1930 radio. And not a single African-American executive producer has been hired since 1930. We went to the television in 1940s, not a single African-American or person of color given the opportunity of ownership on network television that is driven by a 40% Black audience. And so rarely are we included in decisions of what will be seen or heard. To date, CBS has not hired a single senior vice president of daytime drama television, or daytime television, excuse me. It's a very important role. Over 200 years of aggregate daytime drama television for CBS, not a single. Procter & Gamble is the leading advertiser. These are federal contractors. Federal contractors receiving millions of dollars every year. Where is the accountability? Where is the inclusion? I ask my government. Many persons of color would like to participate. I have worked hard, as have thousands of people. We have our union cards. We pay our dues. And so we have to ask also, where is the inclusion? As we go out and ask, where is the inclusion? Arts for too long have been inhospitable to underserved communities across the board. American Ballet Theater, my alma mater, their exquisite soloist, Misty Copeland, should not be the only soloist in American Ballet Theater after 75 years, my God. The arts should not be a niche pursuit for the posh, but rather everyone's freedom to pursue. All people should understand that all art forms are a national culture. How can a child have a vision if a wall of exclusion blinds goals? Or even if a child can fly over that wall, where will he or she land if there is a fear of differences? For most, it remains a dream deferred forever. Studying the arts can be as expensive as sports. Ask someone how much violin lessons are. A grandmother raising a grandchild to keep them out of foster care in need of a piano, recital clothes, sheet music, travel expenses, and more. Ask how much ballet is, painting, photography classes, and more. On a fixed income, who can afford to go to the symphony and to the ballet? I agree we need funding. Oh God, do I agree. But a higher percentage of that funding needs to be directed towards and controlled by merited arts institutions and public schools in specific underserved communities, teaching children, such as the Duke Ellington School of Performing Arts, such as Lula Washington in Los Angeles, and more. Arts groups must make a commitment to their communities to identify and include underserved children in their classes, and for God's sakes, hire teachers that look like your kids. Everyone deserves access, given merit, to all opportunities, on stage, in the wings, behind the camera, in the boardrooms. Let's level the playing field so everyone has an opportunity to be competitive in all aspects of the arts, and lead them too in this global economy so that all people can participate and so that we all have a fighting chance at economic emancipation. We fail in our humanity if only isolated acts of inclusion are exalted. A feel-good moment without any real systemic, substantive change. This not only breeds failure in our youth, but failure in our adulthood. And who's on board on your board of directors? And are you executing fresh ideas? And are you listening to people that don't look like you? To paraphrase Abraham Lincoln in closing, our world needs a new birth of artistic freedom for all people, by all the people, and for all the people. Join me, #Drew4Diversity, Twitter @Victoria Rowell. Thank you so much.